Today is May the 4th, so it's Star Wars Day. Just a holiday Disney decided to turn into like well, it's a sales holiday, we'll call it that. And, but I think with celebration upon us, that we should be able to talk about where we are with the franchise. So we've got a lot to talk about too. Let's see. First off, we've got 19 what 71s. George started writing the Star Wars, the Adventures of Luke Skywalker, according to the wills, or I can't remember how that went. And after American Graffiti came out to being a big hit, he was given leeway by Alan Ladd Jr. at Fox to do Star Wars. And we know the rest is history. The OG trilogy is the mark by which all other franchises is measured, okay? Talk about Ghostbusters, talk about Back to the Future, talk about Star Trek. Star Wars has been, and I'm not gonna bring up Marvel because in my opinion, Marvel is trash. All right, I don't like it. I think it's stupid. Moon Knight was so insanely dumb. I can't even. I could like, what the fuck am I watching? So we won't even mention Marvel on that. Star Wars is a cornerstone of our culture and has been for almost 50 years now. Okay. And the idea of it still means something to people. And with Celebration coming up, I thought, where are we right now? So George did the prequels. Some people didn't like them, basically followed the herd on that. Because, look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Hollywood hates George, okay? They hate George. They really, really do. The reason why is because when he made the deal with Alan Ladd Jr. and Fox, Laddie thought, okay, let him have the merchandising. $10 billion later, that's money that, look, and people in Hollywood are just who they are. They're greedy. They may not take financial, news seriously, but all right? So, the prequel trilogy was not as good as the OG, as the original trilogy, but it was still very good. Okay, the stories are good. And I and I look at fans who trash actors like Hayden Christensen and go, what did he do to you? I mean, what? I thought he did a good job. All right, so, bite me, okay? If you could look, you couldn't have made the original trilogy in the late 90s because these people would have done the same thing to Mark Hamill. Because Mark played screaming, whining teenage boy pretty damn well. All right. Even in The Empire Strikes Back. All right. So there you go. It's the story. It's the imagination, and it's what it's about. Clone Wars carried it further. So we got to see more of Anakin and Obi-Wan and how Anakin, because Anakin's fall to the dark side was not fast, okay? You needed time. And Palpatine, you could already tell, he was like, I want this kid. All right, and Phantom Menace. And Palpatine is a patient man, very patient man. And he let Anakin grow up. He watched over him from afar, felt the pain that the kid was going through, losing his mother. And the first indication that Anakin was stepping into the dark side was what he did at the Tuscan Village. Hey, just Mike, May the 4th, man. So there's good stuff in the prequels. So don't. And if you haven't seen them in a while, and you're upset about the sequel trilogy, watch the prequels. That's what I did, and I realized I was missing something. All right, so and we get into the Clone Wars, and then we get into Disney buying Lucasfilm, and a lot of people had reservations. I didn't really know what to think, you know. But you gotta remember, when you look back at who was involved with buying Lucasfilm, Bob Iger. Bob Iger is not a creative. All right, Bob Iger is an empty suit and a politician. That's it. He's not even a good CEO. Okay, the man has a reputation of having a very bad temper. He has a reputation of being a very demanding guy, but he's an empty suit. When they went about the sequel trilogy, people, I think, on the outside, once TFA came out, realized that Disney didn't know what it had, didn't know what it bought. Okay, didn't understand it. Hey, Matt Piranha didn't figure it out. Okay, and this was the path to where we are now. Okay, allowing Kathleen Kennedy to insert her politics into everything, hiring J.J. Abrams, which was, and not a director that would have taken what George wanted to do and done something with it. If George gives you a script treatment, that's not the script. Okay, that isn't. I mean, if you saw the original script that Lee Brackett wrote for The Empire Strikes Back, it's a different story. It's different. And Larry Kasdan had to come in and darken it up a little bit. Okay, that's what it was. When there aren't people right now writing scripts for franchises like Star Wars franchise, like Marvel, that are good writers. Okay, I mean, look at Star Trek. Alex Kurtzman is an apostle and disciple and a little acolyte of J.J. Abrams. There's no reason for him to be doing this. He's not talented enough. All right? Just like, Rian Johnson should never have been allowed near Star Wars. J.J. never should have been allowed near Star Wars. Hollywood's nepotism and its inability to allow new people to come in. All right, better writers. I mean, all you gotta do is look at the trouble that, hey Dave, how you doing? All you gotta do is look at all the people in what am I talking about? Just look at what Cameron Pasha said about his experiences. He writes a good script, they like it, but no. Okay. They don't want new people. And they don't want ideas that weren't their own. And what they do when they get a script, like for something, they might just keep it and not ever produce it because they hate the person who wrote it. Okay, it's bullshit. This is not how you run a business. But a lot of the reason why Star Wars is where it is because of that kind of shit. JJ came in when Michael Arndt said, fuck this shit. If we're not doing, George's scripts, I'm out. Or George's ideas, I'm out. Okay, again, just because he gives you a script treatment doesn't mean you have to follow it verbatim. A treatment is an idea. It's an outline. And it changes. Okay. What pisses me off with the way Abrams did things is that he wrote as he went. All right. There's a reason why when you watch TFA, why it doesn't really feel like a Star Wars movie. All right. Even look, even in A New Hope, the galaxy is enormous. And you get that idea when you're in the theater, you see the scroll go up, and all of a sudden you see the Tantive 4 go flying over, and then the Star Destroyer. Okay, that's how big it is. You get an idea of bigness. Same scene, almost verbatim, same scene in The Rise of Skywalker or the TFA, and you don't get that feeling because it's not different. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Dave, you're right. And you go into the fact that these characters that they did come up with. I mean, J.J. Eric, my dog could take a dump and be a bit better character than what J.J. Abrams did with Rey. Okay, I'm being perfectly honest. The fact that there is somebody out there like making Star Wars and Molly Damon, lesbian, who has a fan panel. They're allowing her a fan panel on the fan stage at Celebration to talk about how Rey changed Star Wars. Do you see any Rey figures being sold that aren't being sold at buyout stores like Ollie's? No. Do you see any Rey ornaments? No. Okay. Rey is a shitty character. And the people who like Rey are shitty people. They're stupid. They're looking for something that doesn't exist in fiction. Okay, they want validation for their own insecurities. Let me explain what I mean. We live in a world, the internet, where a lot of people have become narcissists. Okay, they're insecure. Look at Leslie Headland. Look at Kathy Kennedy. Look at Pablo Hidalgo. Look at his wife. Look at Molly Damon. Look at Amanda Ward. Look at all these women, all these guys who are looking to be validated because they're incapable of validating themselves. Okay? You know, the one thing about Moon Knight that I thought was interesting is that the gods, they're supposed to be all powerful, right? Needed human avatars to complete their mission. All right? It's like, look, these people need an avatar, and they project all of their ideas of who they are onto a character. Admiral Holdo for the LGBTQ fucking I don't care community, okay? You know, Rey for all the angry, flat-chested, dried up bitches out there, okay? Etc., whatever. And it gets very interesting to me when you watch this shit and you see these characters for what they are. You know, you look at the character of Ben Solo. Ben Solo is every lonely, sad little beta male raised by bitchy single moms to hate his father. That's it. That's who he is. And somehow, people like Jason Ward, who hates his father, obviously, even though last time I heard the pervert was living in his daddy's basement. Not kidding, by the way. Alex Damon, they revere him. Why? Because they hate his father, their father, and he's a projection of what they feel inside, okay? And it's so interesting to me watching this what a psychological dumpster fire the sequel trilogy is. Get into the TLJ, and Ryan Johnson is not a guy who's shy about his parents being religious. Okay, he's not shy about attacking normal life. All right, in every way he can. Okay, he's an alcoholic. He's an unhappy dude. Okay, he's a very unhappy dude, and there it was in TLJ. You know, Ryan Johnson, I'm sure, was bullied in high school. So guess what he does? Instead of doing what he should have done with Luke, he does to Luke what he wanted to do to all the guys in high school who were, the stars on the football team and all the rest of that shit. That's what that is. What he did to Luke was petty bullshit. Okay? I went to film school. So did George Lucas. George Lucas actually could tell a story. Okay? George Lucas looked at archetypes and expanded on them. He didn't lift his leg on it and piss all over it, which is exactly what Ryan Johnson did. Introducing Holdo. I mean, we didn't get Winter, Leia's friend and sister, who lived with the Organas, was Leia's best friend, who was part of the House Organa. No, we don't get her. We get a purple-haired, angry, likely on the spectrum, psychopath. Okay? Whose character is one-dimensional. She has nothing of value to offer. She doesn't do anything. And when she does take the ship and fly it through the Supremacy, what a gay name, Supremacy, that goes against all Star Wars lore. Now, I know Pablo Hidalgo was watching A New Hope going, I don't understand why they just don't take the ships and fly it through, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. They didn't. Okay, all right. George probably thought about that. George Lucas is a genius. The person who wrote TLJ probably has an IQ of 75. Oh, they were just trying to make Leia a bisexual or something. Even though Claudia Gray insists that Leia wasn't. It's like, then what the fuck is Holdo there for? Again, we're looking not at a story with TLJ, but at insert representative of lesbos. Okay, then we get Rose Tico, insert representative of Bolshevism or Maoism. We will reduce the role of, Finn to step and fetch it for Rose. Okay, we will reduce Poe to slap clown. Okay, we will take Luke and totally beat the shit out of him just as badly as we did Han. Okay, I am so. It just look when I think of what I would have done with the sequel trilogy. I don't even know if I would have made one. Maybe I would have just done something about like the Adventures of Luke Skywalker, and done a series of 3 movies where they're doing something, but isn't really, and you've got the kids. I would have done something that would have made sense. Hey Eldritch, how you doing, man? Eldritch Lord Hastor is in the house, one of my favorite subscribers. But you don't do what you did to him. Chris Gore is right. When they, had Han Solo butchered like a dog on a catwalk, they gave him a villain's death. Okay. Oh yeah, Chris, it does. It really, really does. And I'll talk about that in a minute. What they did to Luke was they took away all of his agency, but they took away all of Leia's agency, okay? They took away Han's agency. Nothing that happened in the original trilogy was allowed, these characters were not allowed to grow more. You know, when you're an adult, you don't stop learning. You don't stop growing in wisdom. These guys, when you look at Claudia Gray's novel Bloodline, Leia and Han are stunted adolescents because she is. Okay, so we get to the Rise of Skywalker, and we know what happened there. Kennedy lost her shit. There was no Ray blow, abusive kiss, and they had to. They said they had to shoot 40% of it, and I would say it's probably over 50. And they were shooting up to like 2 weeks before the movie came out, and then everybody wonders why the movie was so bad. It was bad. It was bad. When you've got a franchise, 3 films, they're supposed to go together. They don't make any sense. They don't flow. They don't continue the story because they don't make any sense together. All right. When you've got one that was hopeful enough with TFA, I mean, Chewie, we're home. That's the best advertisement for a Star Wars movie I've ever seen. Okay. I mean, and that's like the only good scene. All right. When you got that happening, people go $2.03 billion, $700 million in the bank. There's Iger. Ugh, look what we did. I trust you, Kathy. Signs her on for another contract. Kennedy gives, after Carrie Hart goes, Ryan's script is just so good. I just think we should just go with it the way it is. Okay. Lost $1 billion. Should have had another 500 million to it. I'll get to that in a second, okay? All right. Then we get to the Rise of Skywalker that no one wanted to see. And it just barely crawls over the $1 billion mark. Barely. What's wrong with this picture? Lousy fucking storytelling, lousy filmmaking, and just lousy people involved. Okay. Solo. Drag out the dead corpse and beat the shit out of it. That's what that was. Hire a 5'4", 5 dwarf with a giant head and receding hairline to play one of the most iconic characters in film. All right. And he does a shitty job of it. Yeah, you're 2 directors who have never actually directed a live action film before. Okay. It was a setup for a disaster. And it was. Okay. And it wasn't just because people were pissed off about TLJ. People were pissed. In general. Okay. People were starting to get it. Okay. So, and we got Rebels. Rebels was mediocre. Probably because Carrie Hart was there. Then they have Resistance, and that lasted 2 seasons, and it was like, you know. So, and now, this is where we're at. No Star Wars movies, feature films coming out. We've got Obi-Wan coming soon, the end of the month. We've got The High Republic. And, you know, delusional people like Molly Damon and the rest of those bitches actually believing that people like Rey. I mean, look, if I showed them the video of the racks of Rey figures that were never sold, they wouldn't believe it. This is where we're at. We're a franchise floundering. Book of Boba Fett came out, people read. Our site can read really well too, by the way. And we should watch that, okay? I found it interesting this morning. Oh yeah, Dave is right. It's shocking. Found it interesting this morning. I woke up to a message from a friend of mine in England saying, and I'll paraphrase, you know, when you said you thought they got basically inspiration from a man called Horse, they did. Literally, go watch the gallery book of Boba Fett. Okay. Now, Jon Favreau said he's using in this show, so it's there. It is canon that we wanted to integrate the EU and what we can of the canon now. I don't know what that means, but that means to me, everything's up for review and revision. Okay? Everything. So I don't look at him and saying, oh, we're keeping the ST the way it is. Because I know he hates it. He hates it as much as we do. Okay? So watch that show because it's interesting. And you might learn a little bit more about the Book of Boba Fett you didn't know. All right. Obi-Wan, trailer 2 dropped. Lots of scenes we saw, you know, Luke, you know, pretending he's a pilot. You know, and we did get a really good shot of Owen basically telling Obi-Wan, leave us alone. Leave him alone. And he does a mic drop with Obi-Wan. Trained, you know, like how you trained his father. Mic drop. Good line. I'm really, 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 really excited to see this. I really wish it would have dropped an Andor trailer, you know. But let's talk about what, I mean, we wouldn't be here without George Lucas. Excuse me. Even the people who are pissed off at him about the sequel trilogy, which is like, you fucking stop it. It's been 20 years. Let it go. Let it go. I don't give a fuck anymore. You know, let it go. All right. George Lucas. I mean, I gotta tell you something. Even seeing an actor playing him in a cameo role in The Offer made me go like that because I knew the moment I saw Miles Teller in that scene with Dan Folger, and you see this guy in a beige sweater, V-neck sweater, with his big bushy black hair and a big full beard. It's like, oh my God, it's George. And I nearly fell off my chair, off the sofa. I'm not kidding. That's what he means to me. All right. And, you know, Marlena Dietrich always said, don't ever have any regrets. I have none. I have regrets. Hey, Sci-Fi Universes, my regret is I never went into film like I should have. You know, that's, you know, and because even, I always wonder where I would have gone if I could have done that, even if I couldn't be in front of camera. I mean, no one's going to want to hear this voice. And I couldn't sing anymore, but I wanted to make movies, so why didn't I just do it? Question that needs to be asked that, you know, was it because I was afraid? No. Still waiting for an email from you, Sci-Fi Universes. It's just, you know, one of those things that I feel like there are people involved besides Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau who don't care. J.J. Abrams doesn't care. Now, today he basically put a Twitter out talking about Star Wars. And I know he's just getting absolutely obliterated right now. I don't need to see it. I know he is. Okay. But there are people they don't care. Disney's going through a financial cul-de-sac. The world is in a state of flux. It's in chaos. What happens? Out of chaos comes order. We've got the Supreme Court ready to strike down a woke pillar. We've got, Elon Musk going into Twitter to unwokify it. David Zaslav, the rumors swirling around Disney, saying people are getting laid off or getting fired outright, Wokistanians. Again, people have asked me, well, how come we don't see it in the news? Because you're not going to see it in the news. Okay? Deadline isn't going to write that. Deadline doesn't want to write that. And if Deadline did, it would be an attack on Bob Chapek and Disney. All right? There you go. I did see that Deadline did have Victoria Alonso interviewed. Well, it is. And look, we live in a world where the narrative isn't what the media wants it to be, and they really can't control the internet like they think they can. And oh yeah, they don't look. If it was to come out that Bob Iger basically had a meeting with the board of directors, and this is after what we heard from Doomcock the other day, saying we are not doing woke anymore. That's it. And they kept it to themselves, but they started implementing changes. I think if they're laid off or if they leave, they do have to sign NDAs. So you got Victoria Alonso, Miss Fat Ass Dyke with no creative talent at Marvel. She could wake up tomorrow morning and look and go, oh, I'm fired. Could happen. Now she's under a contract, but she made herself a target. And she went after the boss. So, what's so funny, Angry Rush fan? This close. Dave watched this guy. So, but we're in a state of flux right now. Wokistan is falling. They know it. They're freaking out. All right? And it's going to be very interesting where we're going to be this time next year, May the 4th in 2023. What is the world going to look like? All right. I predict we're going to have a Republican majority in Congress, a big one. I predict that the Ukraine thing is going to be long over. I predict that there's going to be huge changes in Hollywood coming. Because they have to, all right? They have to. No more of this. We're hiring these 3 people because one's black, one's Asian, and one's LGBTQ. You hire them on talent. You don't hire them because of what they fuck, who they fuck, what color their skin is, etc. Okay. All right, that's fine then. We had some trolls in Midnight's Edge After Dark last night. And I think one of them showed up here. And he, no representation quotas anymore. And the people like Kiki Palmer, who's attacking Bill Murray right now, people like that need to be put in their place. Simple as that, there you go. And that's what it is. But, we're on a journey together with this. And I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Mike, how are you, Kimosabi? Um, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It may not look bright, but it's there. And we just have to keep going. And because look, like I talked about Leslie Headland, she doesn't know anything about money. Doesn't. She's adding people to the production staff of The Acolyte. And it isn't going to happen. I mean, when you hear that they pushed it back to October, that's just speak for we don't know what we're going to do with this show. And I've said, why doesn't she remove Star Wars from it and try to sell it to Netflix or Amazon or Apple or something, okay, or HBO Max, or maybe even make it into a movie. It's very interesting to me how persistent she is. And I know what the rumors are in Hollywood, but you got to remember these people are stupid. All right, they're not financially sane. They don't know anything about the stock market. They think a 30% drop in shares in a share price is nothing to worry about. They really do. And it's like, if you watch the show The Offer, you get a sense that, Eldridge, you guys, you get a sense that Hollywood doesn't, the suits don't function really as businessmen at times, okay? And when you've got the head of Gulf and Western basically telling Bob Evans the board isn't happy with what Paramount's doing, they're not worried about the creative content. They want hits so they make money. And just Mike, it's not everybody in Hollywood. I would say that, because I do know the Eyes Wide Shut parties do happen. I mean, if you got Cameron say they do it, and then my friend Lee saying they do it, but it's not everybody. And a lot of people, because of the fact that they're Democrats, get smeared with that. And it's like, look, I could make a movie with Robert Redford, all right? And it would be a good movie. We're not politically cohesive at all. It doesn't matter to me what their politics is. Just tell a good story. And because these woke fuckers in mid-level showed up, it's, you're like, this is where we're at. I mean, even when Barbara Streisand in the 80s was singing at Democrat fundraisers, kick out the clowns, and, 1988, George H.W. Bush, runs over Michael Dukakis like a freaking squirrel on a highway. They were never that bad. Now, I am going to do a show about cancel culture. These people have tried to cancel George Lucas, and they tried to do it with the sequel trilogy. And what they discovered, at least the bean counters, was that the fans didn't like it. All right? Fans didn't like what happened to Han. Fans didn't like what they did to Luke. Fans didn't like what happened to Leia. Okay? Fans did not like the new characters. You can't cancel something and replace it with something that doesn't exist. Okay? That's what they've tried to do. And we've got delusional people going to Star Wars Celebration doing a fan panel on the fan stage there about Rey. whose figures sit at Ollie's and I think dollar stores everywhere and Dollar Tree, gathering dust, waiting for the landfill because no one likes her and no one wants it. And this is the state of Star Wars. A Rey figure sitting at an Ollie's on the peg gathering dust. That's the state of the sequel trilogy. And oh, Just Mikey really did talk like that. He really did. Okay, Aldrich. See ya. I'll be over in Midnight's Edge chat in a minute. That's just, the sequel trilogy. Attend the panel and get Aldrich. I dare you guys to go on Twitter and do that. There is a Rey panel, Mike. Making Star Wars Explained. Molly Damon is doing it. All right, she's leading the panel. How Rey changed Star Wars forever, or something like that. That's what it's called. I'm like, and then there's an LGBTQ panel too. These people have to be just shut down. They have to go away. They're not. Oh yes, he did. Yeah, I'm not even gonna say it. I was like that. I was always like this. Oh God, he should. And get. It's more like how woke feminazism ruined Star Wars. I would rather see if Craig did it, our friend Craig, he'd probably get thrown out. I would do it. In fact, no, I think a woman should do it. I think a woman should do it. I'll leave you guys with this. If you see The Offer, look how the women were. These are not woke examples of femininity. They're actually real women. All right. But this is the state of Star Wars. A Rey. You got the Mandalorian selling stuff. You got Baby Yoda. I mean, the new stuff from Hallmark, the ornaments that are coming out later this year are just... They got Luke, the Luke hallway scene. They got Mando holding Baby Yoda saying, I will see you again. And today, the Razor Crest went on sale. All right. Yeah, they're great. They were great people. But the state of Star Wars is Mandalorian and Rey gathering dust. Look at the hotel. Look at everything that... Look. What? Oh, I did. I'm gonna maybe do an upload about that. But the trailer for Obi-Wan dropped and it was great. I'm optimistic for the show. It just look. This is something good. Maybe it'll make us forget Rey sitting on a peg. Happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Watch a Star Wars movie, a good one. Episodes 1 through 6. Episodes of Clone Wars. And I will see you guys around the galaxy. I'm going to Midnight's Edge. Talk to y'all later.